Joined the army on April the 1st, 1943. I was sent to Colchester, and after 6 weeks initial training, I was sent to the Eastern Command PT School, which they said was to toughen us up. And after that, we were put in 3-ton trucks and sent to Beaufort on Salisbury Plain, given the red beret and told we were in the 6th Airborne Division. After initial training with the Airborne, which was very hard for 12 months, our first trip abroad was we were sent to the airfield to get ready for D-Day. But 2 days before D-Day was to take place, they realised they had run out of gliders, and we were put on a flat-bottom boat in Tilbury on June the 5th, sent around to the Straits of Dover to Gosport off the south coast to wait till the morning of June the 6th, where we were sent across to France. So in France, although we were airborne, we actually went by sea in a landing craft. We did a show in water up to our waist. Our job when we got to France was to ignore any immediate forces we came across and make for Pegasus Bridge to reinforce the airborne troops which had landed in the early hours of the morning by Pegasus Bridge. And our job was to reinforce them. We stayed there for 3 months until the breakout came, when our last battle was the Battle of Breville, where we lost our company commander and quite a few of our company. And then we proceeded to Honfleur. We were the first troops to capture the town of Honfleur. After a few days rest in Honfleur, we were brought back to this country to prepare for our next engagement. But it came rather quicker than we expected, because we were all due to go on Christmas leave. In fact, my friend had already gone home on the 18th of December, but on the 23rd of December, we found ourselves on a boat going to Belgium to the Battle of the Ardennes, which was the last German major offensive, called the Battle of the Bulge. And we were on the front line there all that winter until the February, where we were brought back to Beaufort and re-equipped to prepare us for the landings over the Rhine. We flew over the Rhine in gliders and landed at a large village called Hamilton, which was 12 miles the other side of the Rhine. Our job was to hold a major crossroads to stop German reinforcements going forward and to stop them running away from our troops which were crossing the Rhine by land. After they caught up with us, we moved forward with very little resistance until we got as far as Villach, which is upon the Baltic coast. The airborne troops were supposed to be the first troops to meet the Russians. After initial rest there, we were brought back to this country to Beaufort again on Salisbury Plain, where we were fitted out with all green underclothes and all ready to go to the Far East, ready for a drop in Burma. The advance party had already gone ahead by land, but fortunately for us, it was during our preparations to get ready to go to Burma, the first bomb was dropped the first atom bomb was dropped, and of course all engagements in Burma were then cancelled. After that, my battalion, the 12th Devons, having suffered severe losses, were broken up, and I finished up my last 2 years in the Royal Ulster Rifles, which to make up the Air Landing Brigade was the 12th Battalion of the Devons, the 1st Battalion of the Royal Ulster Rifles, and the 1st Battalion of the Royal Oxford Bucks Light Infantry. So I finished up my last 2 years in the Royal Ulster Rifles, and we were sent to Palestine. We landed at Haifa, and the first job was to dig mortar pits and barbed wire around the streets, around the airport in Tel Aviv and around the streets in Jerusalem. The first 12 months in Jerusalem was pretty chaotic, because you didn't know who your friends were, who your enemies were. It was almost a par to what the British troops suffered in Ireland a few years ago. But after the first 12 months, when things settled down, things were far better. my last 12 months stationed in Jerusalem, I attended the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which I've got a certificate signed by the head there, and I also attended the midnight carol service, which is broadcast from the square in Bethlehem every year. I was fortunate enough to go to that. From then on, we were brought back then through Italy, landed in Venice, up through Italy to Villach, where we were stationed in Villach, and we did guard duties in Vienna. But my last 3 or 4 months in the army was on a journalistic course up in Graz in Austria, where I sent reports to local papers of local men serving in the forces. I was demobbed from Tidworth in July 1947 and got married on October the 4th, 1947. Comradeship of the army is, you rely on your comrade in the army. I mean, there are many instances where when your comrade, you rely on your comrade and their comrade relies on you. If life was only like that more today, when people could get on with each other, talk things over and that, then I'm sure things would be far better. My father gave me a Bible, which was carried in my kit bag everywhere I went. It got damp very often, but it's written in the front page. It says, "Remember thy Creator in the days of thy youth, and when you are old, he will never desert you." And I can testify to that to this day. No, it's very difficult to carry out, to be a Christian in the army at times, because you're doing things really which you know is against God's wishes. But you have to defend yourself, or well, that's war. But I'm sure I would prefer much better ways better solutions to resolve problems than just going to war with one another.